Yo.
We're live.
Okay. We're live, guys.
We're live.
Um, First episode. We're just gonna, start out introducing ourselves, how we got to love Chelsea. Um, I'll go first. I'm Pablo. I first found out about Chelsea back in 2006, 2007, around there. I was like maybe 10, 11 years old. And I was just scrolling through the channels. The Premier League wasn't big here in the US yet, but in Fox Support, this is when are the people who had rights to the Premier League. And
Yeah.
I remember I'm scrolling through the channels and I was like, oh, there's soccer. I want to watch some soccer. And I see it's Chelsea versus some team. And I'm like, who's Chelsea? And I see they had a big banner for John Terry. It said Captain, Leader, Legend. And I was like,
Dang.
okay, that's pretty cool. And then he scores in that game. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to be watching this. This is going to
What
be a
year
good team.
was
It was
what
like
year was
2006, 2007, something like that. So after Mourinho left, um, after winning the double and back-to-back Premier Leagues. But I remember seeing that. I'm like, yeah, no, that's cool. The captain scoring, I think it was from like a corner, obviously.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, no, this is my
defender.
team. And ever since then, I'd watch every game on FIFA. I would always use Chelsea for everything. So that's how I fell in love with Chelsea.
Just became your team. It's good because people can't say either like you were a glory hunter. Like you just
No, I
joined
mean,
and you
I
saw
just
the
didn't
rise.
know. Yeah, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
I didn't know they were good. I didn't know they just got bought. Nothing.
Right. It's kind of the same for me. Well, you know a little bit more of this story.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So I'm Puerto Rican. My name's Guillermo. Let's start off with that. I'm Puerto Rican, and so our sports are basketball and baseball. And I had never even really heard of soccer, honestly, before I came to the US. I went to Florida first, didn't really hear of soccer. I went to Pennsylvania, didn't really hear of soccer. And then when I got to Virginia, I quickly heard of soccer. Like right where we lived, there was a soccer field. Remember Northwood? That soccer field? That's
Mhm.
exactly where I first played soccer. And so then when we moved from that spot into like another apartment complex, is when I met you, when I met Oscar, and all of our friends. And you let me borrow FIFA either 10 or 11.
That's right.
And I remember my brother would always use Barcelona because they were the best team. And he would like in the first game or two, he like beat me with them. And I can't remember honestly who I used, but he like destroyed me. And I was like, what's going on? Like, I can't be this trash. It must be the teams I'm choosing. So I don't know what happened, how I got to the Prem, but I ended up being at the English side in the Prem. And I remember I saw this team, Chelsea. At the time, I actually was because I barely knew English. So at the time, I actually called them Chelsea. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna destroy you." And I remember there was this, well, he's African, right? But there was this black striker, and he was just huge, big, strong, and I was just scoring headers. I was receiving the ball with the chest and banging it. Like I was doing crazy things with this player, and I had no idea who he was. I had no idea of anything. And so a couple of days later, you asked me, "Yo, what's your favorite team? Who'd you end up liking? Who'd you end up liking?" And I was like, in front of a couple people, I was like, Chelsea, Chelsea, I'm proud. And then everybody started laughing, making fun of me. And you were like, yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, but it's pronounced Chelsea. She was like, don't say that again.
Yeah, I remember that. And then
Yeah.
your brother was like, "Oh, $10, then I'll destroy you." I was like, "Ah, you don't
Oh,
wanna do this." And so I
he
went
said that.
over. Yeah,
Uh,
he still owes me the $10 'cause I went over, and in the first half, I put like 7 or 8 goals past him with Chelsea, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I quit." And he never gave me the $10.
I think if I
But
remember correctly, that ended like minute 35. I
it wasn't
remember
even
that.
the
I
full yeah,
remember that.
uh-huh. It wasn't even the full first half, and I
Yep.
was look, FIFA's my game. FIFA's
Oh,
my game.
stop.
Guillermo knows
You,
it,
you
but
you are
anyways,
you are pretty good at people. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, that's how we started out with, our love for Chelsea, and so we got to thinking recently, we're like, "Why don't we just start a podcast?" I mean, Chelsea, thankfully, right now is on the up and up again after 2 really bad seasons. Well, maybe 1.5. Last season, it got better with Pochettino halfway through. But, we all know when Chelsea's doing good, and we just beat Brighton 4-2, and Cole Palmer scored 4 goals in the first half and stuff like that. You're like, straight after the game, let me look at all the match reviews. Let me look at all the YouTube videos that everyone's posting. Let me look at, everything that people are saying on Reddit, Twitter, everything. You just want all the media you can obtain about the game and about Chelsea.
Yep.
So we're
Yep.
like, well, why not talk about it ourselves? I mean, we love it. We
Right.
always talk about it already. So let's just
Yeah.
record it and see if people want to hear.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like we have, like we literally call each other and have fun talking about it. And we say good things and we're able to kind of like go off each other and all
Bounce
that
off each
stuff.
other. Yeah.
And that's like years, you know?
Oh yeah.
I was really happy like you told me about it because I had the idea like with some of my friends here to do a podcast and we were like, yeah, let's do it, let's do it. It was like a lot harder than it seemed, but obviously it's now up and running. But when you told me like 4 or 5 weeks ago, let's just do it. Like you were so nonchalant about it, and I was like, let's
Yeah.
do it. And then literally
Yeah.
like 30 minutes later, you sent me the intro, and I was like, oh, this is so. Let's do this. So I'm really glad. Thank you for just in general thinking of me and yeah, just consider me to do this because I'm really excited.
Of course. I mean, like you said, we already talk about it all the time. So why not?
Yeah,
Let's just
exactly.
record it.
Yeah,
So first podcast episode, we're gonna be a little rusty. Everything's gonna be the best, but obviously we're gonna start getting better and better, better
yeah,
edits, better quality,
mm,
better information. But I want to have like a certain format that people can follow, and I think it would be good to start out with um, the lineup. So today, November 3rd, we went against Manchester United. I think it was match week 10. Um, and it was at Old Trafford,
hmm
and we lined up with with Enzo Modesca. You can already assume what the lineup is going to be. Unlike last year with
yeah,
Mauricio Pochettino, where he's changing the lineup everywhere 24/7. You know who's going to line up. So there wasn't
yep,
really any real surprises. Maybe the only surprise is that Cucurella didn't start. So we got Sanchez on goal, Gusto at right back, Fofana, Colwell as the center back pairing, Reece James as the left back, captain Reece James as the left back,
yeah,
Caicedo and Lavia on the double pivot in a 4-2-3-1, with Madueke, Neto on the wings, Palmer playing as a 10, more of a free roaming 10, as we'll see later, and Nicholas Jackson as the striker.
Jackson.
What did you think when
Yeah.
you saw the lineups an hour ago? What did you think?
Um, I was surprised again. I in terms of the only thing that surprised me last weekend was the Reese and Cucurella. Seeing Reese at left back completely shook me. I was like,
Mhm.
this is either going to be like amazing or a disaster. And it was honestly amazing. He was playing last game, not this game, last game. He was playing like Thiago Silva, but like at left back, Thiago Silva, which is really
Yeah.
weird to say. But he had 3 goal line clearance. This is his first game back, by the way. He had 3 goal line clearances, like just looked so calm. He never
Calm.
seemed he never seemed to panic. He always seemed ahead of the game, which is a big criticism for me for Reece James because usually he kind of wants to like get into that physical battle, all this
Yeah.
stuff. But I
Yeah.
think he's smarter than he knows. And he can use that to his advantage so he doesn't have to get into his physical battle, especially now that he's struggling a lot with injuries and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So, I was a little surprised to see it again. I would have picked everything the same, but I would have started Cuckoo and I would put Reese at right.
I think so
That's
too.
honestly what but I like how Maresca did it, and I understand and I trust it.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, when you got a player like Gusto as your second choice right back,
yep.
you kinda trying to have to find a way to fit both of them in. You can't just
Yeah,
be like, "No, look, Reece James is back, Gusto, you've been amazing for us for a full year and a half, but you're
but
going
it's
back."
weird because you're not seeing like, even when Cucurella came on, I mean, yeah, he was kind of inverting, but he was kind of more holding the width, at times as well. And it's just interesting to see Maresca go from Cucurella super invert, like he was super inverting and all that stuff first
Mhm.
6, 7 weeks, and now to like just well, first he totally dropped him, And
Yeah.
then after that, Wilco Corella came in, and again, he wasn't inverting the whole time. He was kind of like he was almost like an extra man wherever it needed to be.
Yeah, he was like, if we needed an
Like
extra
he
striker almost, he was there.
Yeah, exactly. It was really weird. That's really interesting. Like I would love to just understand kind of Maresca's thought process with all that stuff. Just because I feel like it's a little out of the norm, you know.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like it a lot. I love
Yeah.
seeing Reece.
Yeah, having Rasheem as left back, I was confused, especially, he's a right-footed player. So you have an inverted not inverted fullback, but you're using him as an inverted fullback at the left side, and he's a right-footed player. So the nice thing about that is that you have him at left back, he can ping those balls easily to,
Right.
Noni Madueke or Cole Palmer
Yep.
if he's over there, because he was
Right.
being free roaming everywhere, which is beautiful, and
Hmm.
we all know that Reece James has one of the best right foots in the league, probably second to Trent, honestly.
Right. Literally.
So,
Yeah.
having a left back is amazing, and he's got that physicality that in attack, if we need him to, which he would do back when he first started in the academy and when he was over at, oh, I forget the team Wigan. When he was at
Yeah.
Wigan, draw back into a back three, and Wigan, he was sometimes center mid, which is
Yeah.
Maresca liking to have someone in the mid, their left back going to midfield. It just works out perfectly, so we've got more cover there for Sanchez,
Yeah.
which, let's be real, Sanchez isn't the best goalkeeper. He's good at shot stopping, but you just feel like he always has that
Mess up in
mistake in
him.
him. That he has that mistake
Mhm.
in them, and it's not just a little mistake where like, oh, he booted it out. No,
Nah, it's
it's
bad.
gave it straight to the striker. You know?
Hmm. He kind of carries it like, um, you can kind of tell right in the beginning of the game whether like what type of mentality he's on and if he's gonna be like really good that game or if he's gonna be like and it's really
Yeah.
scary when he's like it's really scary. But I like that Maresca has kind of given me the freedom and permission to do that and to almost say it's okay. Like
Make
mistakes are gonna
make the
happen.
mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want you to be perfect. That takes away pressure. Like as a player, that makes you feel like I'm good. Like I must
Yeah.
be good at what I'm doing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because he trusts me and he knows that obviously I'm not gonna be perfect, 100% perfect, but 90% of the time I'm gonna do well.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought on what do you think of Robert Sanchez today?
He made some good saves. He made some
Yeah,
good
he did.
saves,
I like his
but
claims.
yeah, but the penalty was just a little. I feel like he wasn't focused enough there. There
Mhm.
wasn't he's running away from the goal already, going almost out of bounds. There was really no need for that. You have the cover of Reece James there in case he does get a shot off. It was a tight
Yeah,
angle. I didn't think he needed to foul him.
right.
But that being said, so the game ended 1-1. Forgot to mention this at the beginning. Most tied match in Premier League history. I think it was number
Yep.
28th time that we tie in the history.
Mhm.
So this fixture always ties. If you're a
Yep.
betting person, you should bet that they're going to tie.
Yeah.
Um, but it ended 1-1, minute 70. It was Bruno Fernandes scoring the penalty. Last year in the same fixture, he actually got a penalty right before the second half ended or first half ended,
Hmm.
and Robert Sanchez actually blocked it. I was hoping for the same, but this time he
Dang.
didn't. But then 4 minutes later, main man right here, our vice captain almost, one of the captains on the fields, Moises Caicedo scores a banger.
Yeah.
Half volley, half volley, bottom right of Onana's net. Unreachable. Just, I mean,
J
what can you say?
He just hit it, right? Like I love that because I think the whole game we were hesitant to shoot.
Mhm.
And we were sometimes also holding on to the ball too long. And I was happy when he just hit it. And I couldn't tell at first if we went in. But as soon as we went in, I was just like, yeah. Like I was
Yeah.
just so happy. Like I was so hyped for it. And I love how he celebrated. Like he kind of just like we silenced Old Trafford. But then I don't
Exactly.
know if Chelsea fans didn't know if it went in either. And then they joined,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
you could
remember
hear
like
it.
yeah, I celebrated and I looked away and I didn't hear much. So then I looked back to make sure like it is a goal, you know? And it just felt like super fast. But what a banger. What a time to do it. And I
Yeah.
think honestly, all game, beautiful.
Oh,
For me, man of the match.
oh no, I agree. I mean, there's gonna be bias. He mentioned he's Puerto Rican. I'm Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
There's gonna be bias. I
Yeah,
can't
of course.
not have Ecuadorian tinted glasses when I'm looking at this Chelsea team. I'm always gonna, back my countryman.
Yeah.
But even if I try and put bias aside, he was man of the match. I mean, winning duels, aerial duels, ground duels, tackling people, carrying the ball upfield, passing. His passing range is amazing. People talk about his interceptions and his tackling and all that, but the most underrated feature of him, the passing. His passing is immense. There was a time where he took the ball, took on two Manchester United midfielders, and then pinged a pass straight to the left field. I think Palmer was the left fielder, maybe Neto at that point,
I
but
think it was Neto. Yeah.
it
I
was
know
Neto. But
exactly what
just
you're talking about.
he just and he does it so easily, perfectly to their foot or wherever they're running. Like it's never the wrong angle, the wrong weight. It's
Mhm.
perfectly weighted. It's just he was man of the
And
match.
you don't even expect it. Like when he does it, you're like, oh, like, is this good or whatever? And then you're kind of expected to not be great, but it's always good.
Yeah.
It's always good. And I like how you mentioned the running on the ball, the passing on the ball, because a lot of people like to look out for his defensive numbers and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But he's just an all active player. And that's honestly what this game required. Like I think if Lavia was more like that, we win this game. I think Lavia
Yeah.
was a little more reserved, which I understand, but I think this game required a little bit more physical, meaty, greedy. Um, and he definitely brought that. Like he was the only midfielder that was really doing that because
Yeah.
Palmer was pretty not really doing that. He's not really a physical type of player. Lavia again, he was kind of reserved. He was more about the building the ball out and carrying that into the
Yeah.
midfield.
Which you need a
Which
balance. I mean, I get it.
yeah,
You need the
of
balance,
course,
and
but
that's probably instruction straight from Enzo Maresca, but I
yeah,
agree. If Lavia was a little bit more like I said this game, where he was a little bit more destructive, a little bit more forward thinking, we'll probably catch them on the break a couple more times
yeah,
and create more chances.
the
But
break, yeah.
looking at Caicedo, this is from FotMob. Um, his rating 8.3. Played 90 minutes, 1 goal, banger. He had 36 accurate passes out of 43, 84% pass accuracy. He created one chance, one shot on target, and 60 touches. 2 touches in opponent box, which when you think of Caicedo, you're like, he's not really going to be in
Doesn't
the opposition box. He's going to be more
Yep,
midfield or distributing the passes. So that just
yeah,
shows how attack minded he was today. Um, 2 out of 3 successful dribbles, 5 passes into the final third, which is amazing. And he was only dispossessed once, just once. He had 2 out of 3 tackles won, 1 interception, 3 recoveries. Ground duels won 50%, 8 out of 16. Aerial duels won, which is weird. He wins all his aerial duels, 1 out of 1. I mean, there's only one, but he's a short man.
yeah,
And he's over here winning all the aerial duels. Like every game, I would look at his stats. I'm like, how did he win all these aerial duels against giant midfielders? You got Casemiro, which he's not a short person. Bruno Fernandes isn't a short person either. He's not all bulky or
mhm,
anything, but still, he's
yeah,
not a small person. He's winning all these headers
yeah.
against taller people.
Dude, he commits, like, when the ball is
Yeah.
coming, you see it, like, even if he's far from the ball, he goes to it, and he makes sure that he gets a touch on it, and that's the thing, if he doesn't touch it, he'll get you down or whatever, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
He'll stop the play. I love Caicedo.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about the ref a little. I
Yeah,
think this is probably one of the and you might have seen it differently, but I think this was probably one of the better refereeing performances we've seen in the league. He was letting play continue when needed to. He was calling certain things that you're like, I remember at first glance, he called 2 or 3 different fouls on Caicedo at the beginning, where I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. They have an agenda against Caicedo. They know the type of player he is, so they think he's committing that foul. But then the replay shows he really did commit a foul.
right.
But then, kind of closer to the end, he was just calling anything on Caicedo, anything. And there were times where he was just, body to body, shoulder to shoulder, and he would call a foul. And I think it's just because of the type of player Caicedo is, like you were saying. He's going to come at you.
Yeah.
he's a bulldog.
He's
People
not really
call it
scared.
no, he's gonna go at you. He's got that South
Mhm.
American blood in him. He's like, "I'm gonna get you."
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and so he's just I can't say enough. I can't give him enough praise because he is just amazing. And obviously, my countryman. And yesterday, it was his birthday.
Mhm.
Celebrated it with a goal.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what were your thoughts on Palmer today? Everyone has their eyes on Palmer. He's our main man. Sometimes Cole Palmer FC is what people call us. What did you
Yeah.
think about him? Because no goal, no assist.
I think he played a decent game. I think Cole Palmer he had a hard game because he's marked the whole time.
Hmm.
And I mean, we kind of saw this coming, right? Like we talked about it on my other podcast, Half Turn Pod. Tune in if you want. But it's we talked about like one of my friends said that in the Prem, as soon as you start doing well, teams will see it, and they're gonna study you. They're gonna they're gonna tackle you. If you're a threat, like they're gonna try to limit that as much as they can.
Yeah,
And you
they're gonna
see it.
kick you.
Yeah, you've seen it all season with Palmer. Hats off to United for doing that type of job on him. I think
Yeah,
that's well done. But I don't honestly think he's kind of figuring out how to get out of that midfield area
yeah,
where
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's almost like entering the final third.
Right.
It's because it's so blocked. Like it's so blocked. He can't do anything there. So it's I like that he's picking up the ball a little bit from defense and kind of getting active that way, or just kind of linking up play, whatever. The good thing about him, how creative he is. Like you just never really know what he's gonna do, especially when he's actually in full action mode. You never know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, I would like if this is out of 10, I would probably give him a 5 or a 6. I wasn't his best game. I
I
love
was
to
thinking
see him.
6, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see him, grab the game by the scuff of the neck, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a hard ask. It's a hard ask, and I don't want to be too harsh on him because again, he's being blocked, and what he did for us last year was you
Yeah,
can't really replicate
and I mean,
that.
he's had
So
an amazing season already,
exactly.
and I think over the middle of the week, in one of Enzo Maresca's press conferences, he was mentioning that about what you were saying, that you're big in the Premier League now, you're getting all this media attention. People know how good you are. They're gonna study you, and if they can't figure out how to take the ball away from you or stop you from getting the ball, they're just gonna foul you. They're gonna kick you. We've seen it with Eden Hazard all the time. Not that I'm comparing the players, but we saw Eden Hazard being the most fouled player in Europe's top 5 leagues for what, 5 plus years that he was at Chelsea. So
Yep.
if they can't stop you, they're just going to kick you. And so what Maresca was saying, which I loved about the Newcastle game, is I remember we were surprised that he went at left wing. We're like, why is
Yeah.
Palmer being a left winger?
Right.
And Maresca specifically said it's because they're going to study our team. They're going to study Cole Palmer being in the 10 and in the right. And so he said Joe Ellington is going to be man marking him the entire game. But if I switch him to the left, he can't man mark him because Joe Ellington has to
Right.
stay on the same side. That's going to throw out
Right.
their whole tactics. And look at
Right.
him. Look at an amazing game he had last season or last game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so that's
Yeah.
what I like about Maresca is I thought he was going to be very stubborn when we first
Yeah.
when they first announced him, when he first was going to become our manager, I thought I thought it was a bad decision.
I mean,
I thought
and people were comparing him to Sadi. They were saying this is going to be another Sadi.
yeah, very just structured, very rigid, very stubborn, very it's my way or the highway because his
One
four three
one
three.
style, one style football.
Yeah, and I remember talking about it the whole summer with you. We're like, I don't know, I'm worried. I'm worried that he's gonna be too stubborn. Like we saw
Mhm.
in preseason where he was really stubborn and he's like, we're gonna do the inverting fullback, and he was just inverting way too much. There was no width. Reece James wasn't able to give his attacking support that he's known
Yeah.
for. Malagusa also wasn't able to bomb up the wings, and we conceded a lot of goals in preseason like that from just not being positioned well.
Right.
And so I was scared that's gonna translate to the Premier League. And no, he's been fluid,
Yeah.
tactically fluid. Oh, let me change this up. Let me change that up. I'm not going to invert this time. I'm going to invert the left back. I'm going to invert the right back. we're not gonna invert at all, depending on the type of team we're going against, or not even just the type of team, depending on what's happening during the match. If in the first 20 minutes he notices that we're inverting too much and we're losing the ball like that, he's like, "All right, no more."
Right.
And I love that about Maresca. He's just so adaptable, and it's something I didn't think he would be like.
Yeah, and I think also like the word you were kind of looking for is like instinctual. Like
Instinctual.
in match, yeah. Like I didn't think he had that in him. And honestly, I mean, like you saw the promise, right? Like right away against Man City, first match of the season. He came in, he was I love how like that he's brave. I
Yeah.
love that he trusts what he's doing. It, there's a certain like aura and just like composure that you have to have if you're a manager and you trust in one style, and then to go up against Man City and say, yeah, we're gonna play this style. We're not gonna just think, oh, they're the best team in the world, so we're gonna play different.
We're
He
just
does
gonna
have
defend
that
the whole
humanity.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He wanted to go at them.
Mhm.
I love that because Man City, when are they at their weakest too? When they don't have the ball, when they're
Exactly.
being hit, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So, yeah, honestly, big, big, kudos to Maresca because he's doing well. He's
Yeah.
doing really well.
And I don't know what he's been telling these kids, and I say kids because they're kids. Um, I don't know what he's been telling them at halftime that what I mean, I can just go through a couple games. So the Newcastle game last week, we score a minute 47, 2 minutes into the second half. The game before that against Panathinaikos, butchered that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. First 15 minutes of the second half, we scored the 3 goals that made it 4-1 or 4-0 at the time.
Yeah.
Before that, against Liverpool, we came out. Jackson scored in minute 48 and 3 minutes in the second half. Like, I don't know what it is, but he made a team that Pochettino had terrified of playing in the second half, losing leads in the first 15 minutes of the second half to complete 180, and now we're the ones scoring in the second half.
Right.
Immediately,
Right.
right out the gun, we're just guns blazing. And I was hoping that would happen this game, but to be fair, United just they played really well. And I mean, you're
They
away.
did.
Um, I think at
And
the
this
end of the
is
day,
sorry,
go
yeah.
on. I was gonna say, I think at the end of the day, if you told me that everyone around us is gonna drop points, everyone, Aston Villa dropped points, which I wish they tied, but because we don't want Spurs on our neck, but Aston Villa dropped points, Arsenal lost, City lost, Brighton lost because 'cause they're a threat.
Mhm.
All those
United
teams,
lose
I
points.
mean, yeah, United too. All those teams are losing points, and you told me, "Yeah, we're gonna tie, and we're gonna be 4th above title contenders Arsenal." I'll take it. I'll take it. We're
Yep.
7 points away
Surprise.
from City or, from Liverpool in 1st place and 5 points away from City. So much can happen. We're only
And
a
that's
not even a third, a 4th of the way.
and that's literally losing to City and losing to Liverpool. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And tying Crystal Palace, but that's all that is.
Yeah, tying Crystal Palace, that was rough, especially at home.
If you don't tie Crystal Palace, then you're
You get 2
5
more
points
points,
away
you're at
from Liverpool,
exactly.
3 from City.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Honestly, like I think the fact that I don't like not winning these big games because that's something that I thought Pochettino did really well.
Mhm.
But it's not like we're really, really losing it and really behind. Like they're just winning it, right? Like that
Yeah.
Liverpool game felt like they just had a little bit more than we did in terms of as a team that experienced that quality, honestly, that
Mhm.
composure, organization, discipline, all of that is better, right?
Yeah.
And that showed, and that's why they won the game 2-1. Against City, I thought we were the better team. They were just more clinical. They know how to win. Right now, this is very unlike Chelsea because the past 3 years we haven't won a title. No FA Cup, no nothing. So it's gonna take a trophy this season, I think, for us to truly believe that we can become title challenging.
Yeah. I I
And
agree.
yeah, I think we're doing well.
Yeah, definitely doing well. I mean, at the beginning of the season, if someone told you we're gonna be top 4 right now, 10 games in, you're taking that. Yeah, just you're a point
Yeah,
behind. You're
100%.
a point behind two-time Champions League winner or champions of Europe, Nottingham Forest. You're gonna take that. You're gonna take that. I mean,
Yeah, it's crazy that they're up there.
yeah, I know. I don't.
It's
Chris
crazy,
Wood
dude. They're
is
playing so well.
killing it.
Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi,
Colin
nasty,
Hudson-Odoi, Oleana. Look, Cobham.
nasty. I love
We
it.
just
I
got
love
kids
it.
everywhere.
Did
Crystal
you see?
Palace, they scored 2 goals this weekend. Who scored the 2 goals?
It was it Guay,
Gay and Trevor Chalobah.
Guay, and Trevor Chalobah.
Center back pairing, made in Cobham.
Yep,
We
dude.
just
We the Carbon really performed. I saw a tweet from somebody and it was a Chelsea fan and it showed all the Carbon boys that performed this week. Literally, like I think it was like 8. Like you said, Callum Hudson-Odoi, the other Nottingham Forest player.
Oleana.
Um, yeah, I don't really know too much about him to be honest.
He's a fullback. He was around at Chelsea around the time when Reece James was coming up and everything. So I mean, you had Reece James, you had Livermentos, you had Lewis Halls, you had Tariq Lamptey.
Yeah,
So many
we were
players.
stacked.
There's so many
We were
players at
stacked.
fullback.
And that was going to be my next mention. Lewis Hall and Livermento. They beat Arsenal. And they've just been playing well. Like they beat us in the Carabao Cup midweek as well. And I think honestly, a big reason why they beat us is because of Livermento and Hall.
Yeah. I
So I like
mean,
that.
Lewis Hall pocketed Saka the other day.
Really?
Oh, Saka couldn't complete a single dribble on him.
He's a
Made in Cobham.
beast, dude. I love that he went to Newcastle because I think it embodies like how he
Yeah,
is
I
as a
mean
player.
he's a Newcastle fan.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
I like
He's a
it. I like it.
he's a
I like
Newcastle
Newcastle
fan.
a lot. I like Newcastle a lot. I was telling the one that because we were talking about when they played Jose Mourinho United, Fenerbahce or whatever, Fenerbahce,
Mhm.
whatever.
Fenerbahce.
And they were talking about what team would Mourinho be good for, a low team in the Prem. And obviously Newcastle's not low anymore, but Newcastle
Well,
with Mourinho,
they're mid-table right now, 10th place.
St. James Park with Mourinho,
Yeah,
dude.
Mourinho would set up shop there.
I'm telling you, he just has to worry about the away games.
Yeah.
He just has to worry about the away games. The home games, he's not going to lose them. He's just not going to lose them.
But
That would be fun too. That would,
speaking of away games, we got a draw.
yeah.
Draw against United at Old Trafford. You're gonna take that. We lost 2-1
Yeah.
to Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
We beat West Ham in the London Stadium 3-0. We beat Bournemouth 1-0.
That was a big game.
Good game. And we beat Wolves, famous Nani Madueke hat trick. He hates Wolves away. So we're getting a good amount of points away. The only games we've lost away, I believe, this season have been Liverpool, which I just mentioned, and that's it in the league. That's the only game we've lost away. So in the course of the whole league, if you don't lose your away games, so you draw them, let's just say, even though we've won a couple already, we've won 3 or 4, but if you just draw all your away games, that's 19 points. You win all your home games, which you really should. You win all your home games. That's 57 points. At the end of the day, you got 76 points, if I did my math wrong, right? 57, 19, 76.
No, that's good.
Quick maths. 76 points. That's top 4. That's
Yeah.
top 4. I mean, if you look at last season in the Premier League, that would have gotten you 76 points, would have gotten you 4th place by 8 points ahead of Aston Villa.
And that last year was stronger.
Yeah. And we were weaker.
Right.
We tied against teams like 10-man Sheffield 2-2, Burnley 2-2. Both got relegated.
Forgot about those types of games. Oh my gosh.
Lost twice to Wolves last season.
Oh my god.
Twice. They did a double on us. Pedro Neto. And so just those 4 games, that's what, 2, 4, and then 6 points that we lost completely. Even if these were draws, so 2, 4, 5, 6 extra points last season, we would have gotten top 4. We would have been 69 points ahead of Aston Villa by 1 point.
That's a good way to look at it because I honestly never thought about the math of all of it. We're looking like a top 4 team, and I'm honestly like pretty convinced that we're gonna get that this season, God willing. But that's interesting you say that. Like just the numbers, like yeah, we're not losing to small teams anymore.
No, no,
Like we're not
thankfully.
we're not we're not Charity FC anymore.
We're
You know what
not.
I mean?
I mean,
And
you got the Bournemouth giant over there beating Arsenal and City back to back. Could they do that to us? No, we beat them away.
and it's funny because when I said that to my friends 3, 4 weeks ago, I was like, dude, it was a great game. I'm telling you, like they were like, have you seen Chelsea? Like when it's like a tight game and it's like you just need one chance and like you just have to be clinical about it, and then like that's gonna win you the game. I was like, honestly, the only game that was like that was Bournemouth. And it's
Yeah,
like, and we stepped up. Like we
yeah.
stepped up and we got it done.
And Kunku.
Um, and they kind of made fun of me for it. Oh, it's Bournemouth. You know what I mean? I'm like, no. This Bournemouth team looks insane. Evan
Plus,
Nilsson.
yeah, Robert Sanchez blocked his penalty that game.
Yeah.
Remember
That's the
that?
reason we won. I forgot.
Yeah, he had a. I mean, he's the one who committed the penalty in the first place, and he shouldn't have. But he blocked it.
No,
He blocked it.
I would give Sanchez like a 7 out of 10 of this season,
I
honestly.
think so. Yeah, so far I think he's probably a seven
And
out of
that's
10.
that's a good rating, I think.
Yeah. But Bournemouth, yeah, beating Arsenal, beating City, they can't beat us. City or Chelsea, usually Bournemouth is their bogey team. How many times have we
Yeah.
lost to Bournemouth or lost at home to Bournemouth, away to Bournemouth? Like, they're a difficult team for us. And for us to pick
Yep.
them, we're going to take that. Uh,
Yep.
so I think all in all, so far, our season has been really good. But speaking of Nkunku scoring that goal against Bournemouth when we needed a goal to win.
Yeah. I'm very happy with it.
Speaking of Nkunku, though, scoring a goal when we needed it against Bournemouth, do you, what do you think about him not subbing on? We had 2 subs left to make, and Enzo Maresca didn't make
Cool.
the last 2 subs.
I'll tell you what, I was happy to see Enzo and Mudryk. I thought that was the perfect, like those were the perfect subs.
At the time, yeah.
Um, but yeah, literally 5, 10 minutes later, I was like, yeah, we need another one. We need
Yeah.
another one because Jackson was pretty much out of the game. Madueke never really I liked Madueke's efforts today. Like just in general, I think he had a good mentality for the game. I don't like his output, but
Yeah, he was
I think
trying
that's
though.
the best product. Exactly.
He was trying. It just wasn't coming out. But how many times are you gonna start someone based off of the fact that they're trying and it's still not coming out? You know, it's been a couple games where Madueke isn't
Right.
produced. I mean, he scored that
Yeah.
one goal against oh, he just scored against someone a couple weeks ago. I can't remember right now.
I know what you're
When we
talking
needed a
about.
goal. Um,
Yeah.
sorry, my throat is itchy.
Was it?
Forest. It was against Forest when we tied at
Of
home.
course. Mm,
Yeah, we needed a goal badly. We were losing at
yeah.
home, and he scored it. But before that, he won a stretch of games, also 5, 6 games maybe since the Wolves game, without producing. Again, it looks like he's going on a little stretch of a couple games without producing. How long I'm asking you, how long do you give him before you start dropping him for, I don't know, Joao Felix or
Right.
Nkunku or Mudryk, shifting players around and adding Mudryk to start? How long do you give him?
For example, like next game against, I don't think he should start. I think first off, Neto looked bright today, way brighter than Madueke, and I wanted them to swap very fast into the second half. Like literally by minute 50, 55, I was like, why is Madueke still on the field? So
Mhm.
I would love to see Pedro to start on the right next week, and I would probably give the left side to honestly whoever. I
Oh,
want
maybe
the I want to see.
Sancho. I mean, I forgot that
Oh,
he was on the team today because he can't because he's on loan from United.
yeah,
But I forgot about him. Sancho would have
right.
been amazing today.
Yeah, yeah, he would. I thought it was a less transitional game than I thought it would be. I thought it would be more transitional. It was
Mhm.
more. We easily got past their midfield
Yeah.
um, all the time, but it was never. But they were easily getting the ball to the wing. So it
Mhm.
was, I don't know, it was almost like we said, all right, we'll do our thing, you do your thing. Let's see what happens, you know?
I feel like we
But
trusted
the
our
play
defenders.
exactly, but the players themselves, at least for me, felt a little bit back. And I keep seeing that. Like I think that was a common theme against Liverpool.
Mhm.
And now I'm seeing it. Like I understand, right? Because it's a big game. Any
Yeah.
mistake can cost you the game. But I would just love to see us, I don't know, just kind of go in a little bit more intense. And then when you do see like your teammate like decide that he's gonna try to take that guy on, you're there for him if it doesn't go well. You know,
Yeah,
I
li
think a lot
yeah.
of times it's like, okay, he's gonna do it, and then that player becomes kind of a little bit disconnected. When
Mhm.
our best games are when they try it, and then even if it doesn't go well, we win that second
With
ball,
second ball,
and
exactly.
then we go again. You know, that's when we're like explosive, like we're like
Yeah.
bombarding things at the other team. I would like to see that. I would like to see us do that more, and I want us to do that more against United because I don't think they're that good. But
I
again,
agree.
like I said earlier, I was telling you earlier, they're a way more dangerous side now.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
like,
you got that new manager bounce, you're playing at home, you got a ex-legend as an interim manager right now, they're just gonna play off of emotion,
and they
passion.
have that new manager coming in, Almiron. They're excited about that.
Exactly, so there it's kinda for the United players, it's almost as a show that they have to put on, an audition,
Yeah,
or the new manager like, "Hey, look, I deserve to start when you come in. Keep me in your
yeah,
plans." And
yeah,
so they kinda gotta elevate their game a little bit, which
right.
is kinda sad when you think about it that it takes a new manager coming in for
To do
this
that.
group of United players to try and elevate their game. I mean, I know it's a Chelsea podcast, but there's something wrong with United if you've got so many good players that come in and just fail, and fail hard. I mean, Jadon Sancho, prime example, absolutely horrible. What was his nickname? 007?
Yeah.
And then comes into Chelsea, first 3 games, assists each game, back to back to back.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and they're saying, "Oh, he doesn't track back. His work rate isn't good. His head isn't into it. He wants to just play FIFA all the time."
And it's funny because sorry, it's funny because on that season, he had an amazing preseason.
Yeah,
I remember he even had a really good game against us, and he played like a false nine, like center forward false nine, and he killed it. So, yeah, I agree. Like, I don't understand why they can't keep those players playing well. Like you
mhm.
saw with Paul Pogba, you'll see 2 seasons of like amazing football from them, but like after that, it doesn't seem like they keep that.
And it's not
Casemiro,
even
he
for
was
the
amazing
full
when he came
season.
in. No, exactly. It's like they have horrible games with them. Like the lows
Mhm.
are low.
Their
And
lows
I
are
don't know.
low.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I thought for a long time it was the managers, like just in general, managers' problem. Like it's the manager, it's the manager, it's the manager. But it's become a culture, I feel like, club. Um, it's a big club. It's probably the biggest club in England.
Easily.
And
I mean, they're the most
they
historical club.
yeah, but I think they don't embrace that enough. Like in terms of using it to your strength, you know what I mean? And I mean, let's not get it wrong. United is the type of team to be able to beat any team in the world on their day when you know what I mean? But it just doesn't feel like they've been able to do that the past couple of
Their
seasons.
days are far and few.
Like before, you would be able to see United play like with Ole. He played City, that City team that was really good, and he beat them.
Yeah.
Ole beat Pep like 3 times.
Yeah, no,
That just happens because it's United. Like there's no other reason why they should be winning that game at all.
mhm.
But like Ten Hag, he lost 7-0 to Liverpool. His best
Yeah.
result was that last season, I guess, that win at the end that they shouldn't have won, and maybe
Oh,
the
the FA Cup.
final. Yeah, but
Mhm.
besides that, like in the league, United is just they just don't know how to really rally and carry
It
it through for like 6 months of the season.
yeah, I mean, since Fergie, they've become a team in chaos. But unlike Chelsea, chaos brings trophies for us. For them, chaos isn't bringing them anything but just bad things. Chaos. It's
Yeah,
just
moments.
yeah, going down and down. I mean, Mourinho won them a domestic treble, with the FA Cup, League Cup, and then the Europa League, but that's been their peak. and that can't be the peak for United.
No,
But
not at all.
I mean,
The
right now
fact that you're winning,
they're sitting what 13th, 13th.
trash.
And you know what's a little bit annoying? We were called Bill and Pound bottle jobs last year, but finished sixth.
Yeah,
We were kicked and dragged through the mud the season before that with Potter when we were just absolutely horrible and finished what 12th, 14th. I don't even remember. It's all a blur. I don't want to remember it. And yeah, United is 13th, and they don't drag their name through the mud like they dragged our name. Like I mean, Arsenal, title contenders, we're ahead of them. But oh well, they have an injury crisis. They have three main players out. What
that's
about
the
our
first
injury
time.
crisis last season? No one talked about
Yep.
that, and still
Nobody
finished
talks
sixth.
about
We
that.
had Reece James out, Wesley Fofana out. We had Colwood out for part of most of the season. Trevor Chalobah also out for most of the season. All those four players would be starting at different points in the season if they weren't injured. Chilwell, your whole back line, starting back line, out, and
The whole back line.
You had Lavia played 30 minutes for us last season because he was just injured the whole entire time. And Kunku, another player that we got, injured the whole season. You know, so
Chukwemeka,
many. Chukwemeka, he started out, players got injured. He
really
came in
good.
and started out really good. I still rate him. I think he should be playing more, but
Yeah.
really, really good. Got injured for most of the season. It's just last season we had an abundance of injuries. I think at one point we had
Yeah.
a starting a starting 11 of injured players, and yet
We had, I
media wouldn't
think, in
talk about that.
total 38. Yeah, no. It was us. United got hit pretty hard, and Liverpool. Like those were the teams that
Right.
were pretty out back in terms of injury.
But a
But we
lot of
had
times,
38 or something like that, and the next it was like a 10-player difference from the second best.
yeah.
Or
And
I was
I
like,
think the difference between that is that we had main players that we just bought or were already a big part of our club out injured. We had captains out injured. But Liverpool and United last season and teams like that had an injury crisis, they had maybe
yeah,
4 or 5 of those injuries were their main players. Then the rest were, bench players or even reserve players that wouldn't make the bench, and they would add that to the list. Like this season, Arsenal, who did they have out? Calafiori, Odegaard, Saka, and Saka's back, and they still
Saka.
lost.
Yep.
And oh, there was one more. I don't remember
They
who.
had they had Partey out for most of the
Yeah,
season.
and they had Ben White out on suspension and stuff like that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, well, we have our main players, our main spine of our team injured," and that's all that people talk about. Well, they're only fifth right now because of the injury crisis. Where's our sympathy? It's like
That's
Mourinho would say,
pathetic.
campaign against
That's
Chelsea.
pathetic.
Yeah,
That's
campaign against Chelsea.
pathetic, honestly.
They love to hate
I
us.
I honestly hate Arsenal for that stuff. The media loves them. They're always talking about how such of a pretty football they play.
Mhm.
Dude, I don't care how pretty you play. Like when you play something, I'm sorry, this is my personal opinion and like mentality towards competition. When you go to compete for something, about how pretty you do it, right? Like we win ugly, we win pretty. It doesn't matter. We win. Like look at Arteta's legacy. What's it gonna be?
And FA Cup.
Second twice in a row? That's
That's it.
garbage. And that FA Cup, that wasn't even his team. That was David Moyes' team, and he went up against the rookiest of. And I'm sorry, Lamps, like not to disrespect you, but he had 2 years of coaching in him, ever, right? Like you went up against Lampard,
Mhm.
and he didn't win that game. That was a Aubameyang that won him that game. And
Aubameyang
those,
and Christian Pulisic's hamstring going out won him that game because we were
oh,
1-0 already. Christian Pulisic scored in that game early in the game, and then did he score early in the game or was he going to score? I can't remember.
can't
But
remember.
but he was about to go score, pulled his hamstring. He still got the shot off. You could see in the replay he pulled his hamstring, but still trying to get the shot off. But if it wasn't for that, we were all over them. We were
Right.
all over them, and that
Yeah.
easily you saw immediately once we had to sub them out, again, injuries, that the game changed and we lost the FA Cup. But
Yeah.
it's just one FA Cup.
That's
That's all
that,
he's
but
won.
that's all they've done. Like
Yeah.
getting second twice, trash, trash. If
Not
that's
even twice.
Chelsea
They
or
got
that's
second.
United,
They've gotten second once.
didn't get the. I thought they got second twice
Did they?
last year and the year before that.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. They did get
They
second
bought it
twice.
twice, or they bought it for sure one, and then just couldn't really hang on the second
Oh yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. That's right. They did bottle it twice. Actually,
Yeah,
last season by 2 points. The
trash,
season
dude.
before that by 5 points. They're not cut out for it.
That's trash. That's honestly trash.
I mean,
And then their
just
media darlings.
yeah. I mean, like the way fans were chanting today against United. Your city is blue. Your city is blue. Just like
Love it.
London.
I
Your
love
city
it.
is blue.
It's so funny. I was watching the game with my friend who's a United fan of the one, and he was like, I forgot there was a specific moment. I think it was like the last 5 minutes of the first half. He was like, "Man, like where are these Chelsea fans? Like you can't hear them or whatever." And then Reece James did some action. I can't remember what he did, but he did something nasty. Literally 1 minute later, it's like he's one of
He's one
our
of our
own.
own.
He's one of
He's one
our
of
own.
our own.
Reece
Reece
James.
James. He's one of our own.
I was like, and that's you like you heard it perfectly, and it was louder than everything else. I was like, I looked at him, I'm like, say something, say something.
That's funny you say that because I was watching the game with my wife, and I was telling her, I'm like, "Oh my god, look at the away fans. You can hear them." Like all I could hear was the away fans, and it's not easy to to be louder than the Old Trafford fans, and they were
At all.
just the whole time going at it. They were bringing out all the chants. They were bringing out
Yep.
the carefree. He's one of our own. We've won it all. Just like your city or your city
City's
is
blue.
blue. Bring out all the chants.
We
All the
have we
chants.
have the we have the vibes back. We have
We
our
have the
Chelsea
vibes
back.
right. Yeah, I mean, Maresca's he's bringing it back. We're doing a good job.
Yep. We
But
really are. And yeah.
I think we can end it there. We're sitting. There's still one more match for this game week, which is between it's a London derby of Crystal Palace and Fulham.
Mm.
Crystal Palace sitting in 17th, Fulham sitting in 12th with 12 points. If Fulham win, they get 15 points, 3 points away from Chelsea. So let's hope that they lose.
Mm.
Um, I'm sorry, it's not against Crystal Palace. It's against Brentford. Fulham
Hmm.
versus Brentford.
Okay.
But the table's looking like this: Liverpool first place, 25 points. City 23rd. City second with 23 points. Nottingham Forest. I repeat, Nottingham Forest in third place with 19 points. 19 points, 14 goals scored, which is 5 more than United have. In
I
fourth
love it.
place, Chelsea with 18 points. Arsenal in fifth on goal difference, 18 points also. They got +6, we have +8.
Ah,
Um, it's pretty tight. Aston Villa, sixth place, 18 points also. So we got 3 teams on 18
damn.
points. Then you got Spurs 16 and 7th, Brighton 8th place, 16 points, Bournemouth 15 points in ninth place, and
Wow.
Newcastle 15 points also in 10th place. So
So from 10th to 4th, it's like a point or two difference.
uh, from 10th to 4th is 3 points difference. From 10th to 3rd, it's 4 points difference.
Right. That's
So
crazy though.
2 games, 2 results.
I
It's
mean,
pretty
we
tight.
lose one, 10th place wins one if they have
Yeah,
better goal difference.
they'll switch with us almost.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty tight. And
Yeah.
next week we got first we have a game midweek in the coveted Conference League
Conference League.
against FC Noah.
Those are the time of Adam and Eve's. That's the type of team I remember.
Gonna bust out the Arc Armenian team. They're coming to Stamford Bridge. Should be an easy win for our cup team. Not our B team because they're not
Yeah.
our B team. They're our cup team. That's on Thursday. And then Sunday we play Arsenal at home. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna be really, really disappointed if we don't win. Really disappointed if we don't win. We should not be drawing this game. I know people are gonna say, "Oh, Arsenal's a really good team, and we're just kind of finding our groove." And no, we are playing at home. It's a London derby. We cannot afford to draw points against Arsenal. We cannot afford to drop points against them. We must win. We win, we create a 3-point gap between us and Arsenal already. We need to win. We need to win. It's a must-win game. I mean, every game is a must-win game. But
I like your mentality going into it because this
you're
is
at home.
I think this is where the jump needs to happen, right?
Mhm.
Because the past 2 years we have been honestly like nervous about games. Anytime we're playing a big team, we're scared. It's not
Yeah.
even nervous, scared because it's been bad, right? Now that we're kind of in it, right? Like now that we're kind of in it, we have to make that jump. We can't. That kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. We've gone into big games with this kind of like holding back attitude and mentality, like, ooh, kind of like
A little
on the
nervous.
nerves. Yeah. In order to make that jump to a serious team, we have to trust in what we're doing. We have to go out to win.
We have
That's
to.
we have to do that. And as soon as we do that, that's when Chelsea's truly back.
Exactly. And
That's
so
when Chelsea's truly back.
one better to show that we're real top 4 contenders than beating the media darlings title contenders Arsenal at home. I mean, any Chelsea fan that's in England right now that lives in London that goes to the games, you guys have to show up, be loud. The 12th man is real. We need the
Yep.
12th man. I mean, I'm at home all the time chanting it and cheering everyone on, hoping that, Goku take my energy type of thing going on,
Yeah.
that they can take my energy. But we need Stamford Bridge rocking for this game. We need it. We need it. I mean, I'm an MLS supporter too. I love Atlanta United. We know we've been to the games together.
Yeah.
The owner gave away free tickets, 10,000 free tickets to Atlanta United members and opened up the stadium to the extra seats just to have more support against Inter Miami, Messi's Inter Miami, and a must-win
Wow.
game to stay in the playoffs.
Wow.
Last minute, we win the game 2-1, and the crowd definitely had a huge, huge, huge part of it. 120 decibels is what it reached. 120 decibels. In college football, there's a stadium at Texas A&M, Kyle Field, that hit 105 decibels, and they were packed with 108,000 people. Atlanta United had, I believe, 65 or 70,000 people, and we reached 112 or 120 decibels. That's the type of energy we need at Chelsea this weekend or next weekend.
Dang.
Oh,
That's
I'm gonna
so
be starting
nasty.
again, but we
That's
need the
nasty though,
people to
for
show
real.
up. We need all the flags. We need all the scarves. We need all the energy, all the chants. Like today, the away fans, they were amazing, amazing
Yep, they
with
were. They
their
were.
atmosphere. We need to create an atmosphere again, a fortress of Stamford Bridge. We need to beat Arsenal.
And that's only gonna happen if we truly believe that we can do that. If we have to set up, we have to manifest it, we have to make it happen. That's the only way
Yeah,
that
I
happens.
think, and I think we will. But that's next episode's talk. We'll try and do a preview for the Arsenal game. We'll see how our
Yeah.
schedule shows or goes. But I do want to do hopefully a preview to a game and then a review to a game.
Right.
Um, hopefully nothing big, 30-minute preview
Oh
maybe.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, just talking about predictions, lineups, how we can go at them, where we could win, where our weaknesses are
Yeah.
versus them, and whatnot. But
Narratives.
kind of early on, I'm gonna say Cole Palmer likes scoring at Stamford Bridge. He's made Stamford Bridge his home.
Yes.
He's definitely scoring and assisting in that game. He's
If we
gonna
score two
show,
past Ar- if we score two past Arsenal, we're winning the game.
yeah, he's gonna show Thomas Tuchel that he belongs in that English team over Saka. Even though I'm sure he could fit both of them, but he belongs in the English team over Saka.
Damn. I didn't even think about that stuff.
He had the most goal contributions last season
Nasty.
in
He went
in
into
a
the
bad Chelsea team.
Euros. He went into the Euros with 30 minutes of total time, 2
Mhm.
goals, 2 big goals, not just goals, 2 big goals
Goal in the final.
when his country needed it.
Mhm. So
Let's get the
we gotta
job
get.
done. I
Yeah,
mean
we're gonna.
I mean, this is for, like, the home supporters, right? Like, if we've never been to a Chelsea game. So and I feel like the first time we do end up going there, we're probably gonna end up feeling all the emotions, you know?
Oh,
So,
I mean,
think
you saw us
about
at the
how
fan
lucky.
fest in Nashville. We were just, I mean,
Yeah,
I lost my voice, and I
right.
would lose my voice
And
again, I
just
think, the
looking
bridge.
back and seeing the Chelsea shirts, just looking around and seeing Chelsea
The
shirts, and you're
sea
like,
of
"Yeah."
blue.
So, just know that you guys are lucky to be able to be right next to the stadium, right next to the players, right next to where everything goes on. Um, Transmit that energy, you know?
Please,
And
please.
just know that we wanna be doing that, right?
Yes,
So, if you have the opportunity to do that, take full advantage of it and make it your own, you know?
we can do it. I believe it. I mean, we're Chelsea, pride of London. So we'll see you guys next time
Pride of
on the
London,
review
baby.
episode.
Biggest team of London.
Um, this is Two Blues in a Pod, and we're Chelsea till we die.
Till we die.